What's up, everybody? It's the Wrestling Informer. Have you missed us? It's been quite a long time. Not too much has happened since then, though, Billy, I'm sure. I'm Cav. He's Billy. Uh, Billy, anything happened since old Sap pushed you around and, humiliated you?
God.
I can't wait. Now, let me get this out of the way first, because I'm sure everybody, they haven't seen anything that had to do with this. So this is what's going to be talked about a lot.
Sorry, did you just say they haven't seen anything to do with it?
Well, like us talking about it, we haven't done a show since. So we haven't.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I know your opinion because we spoke on the phone, but yeah.
Yeah, this is a completely different thing, though, than even what happened with you. So let me get this off my chest first when it comes to this guy. Okay, so he slides into my DMs, right? And I talk to him like a normal human being, or I try to at least. I give it a shot. And it's, we have video this and that. And I would say, well, if you have video of something completely different, please feel free. And if you are correct, I will say it doesn't. I bust your balls. It doesn't matter to me, whatever. And no, you guys aren't getting to see my wife or what. It's like, okay. Meanwhile, now.
In it anyway.
Yeah. And I go, well, I wasn't asking you to give it to me. I just assumed when it came out, which it will. Yeah. Good luck, he says. Like, it's not going to be online, which 2 minutes later it was. So here's my biggest deal with him. Try to talk to him. Respectful human being, try to be normal as can be, because this is who I am. So I heard from other people, he's Mr. Anti-Bully, right? That's his big deal. You're bullying people. You're saying homophobic. I'm standing up for these people. I'm standing up. Okay, Mr. Crusader, I'm standing up for people who get bullied. I'm going to calm down for a second, because I'm going to be at WrestleMania this year. And guess what? I don't have any kids, and I'm from this country, Billy. I promise you. I promise you. Now, he goes into other people's DMs to harass them when they say something that doesn't like. He's in there when a person I know comments on Madden's Twitter. And he, for a fact that I know, he is commenting about Meltzer. How could someone pay $12.99? Sap charges a whole $5. So don't give me you're talking about me. He says, how could some so-called journalist say this? He never mentioned Sap one time. This guy has such a thing about people are talking about me that he has to DM the guy and say, and start talking smack to him, calling him names. Mr. Anti-Bully, a guy who wasn't talking about him, but he's so sure he is. He has to slide in his and call him names and tell him he's such an idiot for his comment. You can't, and the guy wasn't posting bad mouthing or anything, even saying someone's name. So don't give me this, I'm defending myself or straightening this guy out, because you're delusional in the first place. So he goes into his DMs and starts yelling at him. Guy doesn't even reply back to him, because when it comes down to it, who gives an? I know I've sworn multiple times there's going to be bleep, so I'm trying to help out Hughes. Who cares? So he doesn't say anything back. Sap replies again, because there's no comment. What's wrong, fella? You can't reply to me. Like he's losing his mind because he's not getting that reply. So Mr. Anti-Bully is busy bullying other people, going into their DMs to harass them when it has nothing to do with him. So Mr. Anti-Bully, I will be at WrestleMania. I will be there. I don't say I'm going to have a fist fight with you. I would talk to you like a normal human being. But if you get this close to my nose like you did with Billy, it's a different story. You are not encroaching on me. You're not going to be Mr. I'm going to get in your face to try to get a little pub with Billy there, where it was I'm going to go up to him, where he's kind of stuck because he's got the whole kid thing and all this. He got in your face. The one thing I object to, Billy, that you should have done is he pushes you with the back of his hand to turn you around. All bets are off. You touched me. All bets are off. That is free reign to do whatever the you want. Listen, you're both much taller than me. I'm a whole 5'8". Scary 5'8", right? However, I'm a little more intimidating than the two tall that are here. So I don't know. He's going to try to get into faces of people. And like I'm saying, I'm not even trying to get into a fist fight because it ain't my battle anyway. But I'm saying if you come up to someone like that, you should expect stuff. And I'm shocked, Billy, that you didn't do anything about it. And I know it's because your son is there. Meanwhile, I didn't see a kid around. Meanwhile, didn't he say he saw your kid flip him off later? So I don't know how there's no kid around. I guess your kid was being babysat by Danhausen next door. So this bothers me. I am more bothered by the fakeness. I don't care for the fakeness. That is the biggest problem.
That's why you don't see a 5-minute video, because my kid would be in and out, because my kid was up and down and sitting in that table, like coming up to me asking what's going on and whatnot. Mm-hmm. My kid's not gonna not come up to me and say what is this about, like while it's going on. Like, so essentially the 5-minute video won't come out because my kid will be edited out of it, like because he can't, because what's out is without my kid. So
I would have a conversation with the guy, and I told him I am so fair. I would have him have his whole entire side and would not let you interrupt him with yelling at him or anything. He doesn't, you don't even have to be on. I would have his side of the story. I'm fair. Where I find if you to be, I would call you on it. When I find him to be, I would call him on it. I am more bothered by I am defending everyone's honor, and then he bullies and slides into people to yell at them. Who in the heck? Why would you care, first of all, to slide it? They're talking about me, and they don't even say his name. And he's sliding in to yell at somebody. It isn't right. And you flat out owe people an apology for doing that, Mr. Anti-Bully. I'm not sliding into anybody's DM to yell at anybody. I give a shit. Somebody has an opinion about something, I don't really care. If somebody is a neo-Nazi and yelling and screaming, I don't care about that. I'm not going to be busy. I have to fight for this right and then, be a scumbag behind the scenes. I'd be a scumbag to your face. I'm not going to hide anything. I am flat out there for everybody. So I'm bothered by that's my piece when it comes down to it, that, this and that. I would have a conversation with the man at Mania, record it, talk like a normal human being. I don't think he's going to try to come get in my face or, put his belly button to my face. A short joke. Because it's just, there's no reason for it, obviously. I would have a conversation. I want to know why he slides into somebody's DMs. Why would you bother? Why would you care enough? And especially when your name's not saying, he's saying my name. Well, the guy didn't say anything. It has nothing to do with him. But you're so sensitive that someone's talking about you that you have to do that. I would talk to the man like a human being. I said I'd have him on the damn show, do a debate, but it's never, it's always say what he does. He DM'd me, and then before I can reply, blocks me.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's his classic.
Big man, scary man. Too. Let me talk, and then I'm gonna block so you can't say because. And I replied to him, "Thank you very much for the information," but that was what was blocked. We never yelled at each other. I talked to a normal person to him, and it's here you go, block. Okay. All right. I'm like, maybe I'm just don't give a as much as he does. But hey, Sap, I'm willing to talk to you like a normal human being. You're the one who doesn't take me up on it. I talk to you and give you credit where credit's due and give you not. He built something. God bless them. You know, anybody who could build something and be successful doing even this stupid business, it's anything. It's successful.
So someone told me that's not his. He works for somebody else. He doesn't own Fightful. He just does. He's the main contributor to Fightful and gets a percentage of that. So when he's going on about his Patreons and all that, he gets a cut of that from the guy that owns it. So that's even less. So when he's talking to me about how many Patreons you will have, dude, I'm on a different level to you. I charge $125 for a different Patreon. Like, wrestling is a hobby. And what was crazy to me is 4 weeks on, what we then saw is so many of these podcasters and guys, that content creators, giving their like opinion on it. Like, I am doing this as a hobby, right? This is not my main source of income. So for me to stand face to face with someone and have an argument which resulted in nothing, because to me, that was nothing. I was expecting nothing to come of that, and for it to basically be talked about for maybe a day or whatever. Not for people. I think it's an indictment of this industry in terms of that was a highlight for people. In terms of it was a talking point. It made it onto podcasts, videos.
I mean, you were yelling well before this for years about when you saw him, you were going to knock him out. That's where you painted yourself into a corner, because then you're like, I got to, otherwise either that or you're going to get it. That's what you were going to hear.
I haven't got to do anything, and here's why. I saw this prick three times in the last few years at various different events, and he stayed away from me. He only made his approach when I was with my kid, and when he had other people around at this geek convention who were filming what was going on. So he was a win-win situation. If I didn't punch him, he wins. If I do punch him, I'm arrested. It's on camera.
I thought you should have pushed him. Like, if somebody's this close to my nose, you're getting shoved back.
Okay, but like and
then it gets broken up immediately. So whatever.
Right, but it's like, you're strategizing a situation that came out of nowhere. So like I'm literally walking around my kid. As soon as it happens, my kid sits down and watches it. And he's under no distress, because this was of no threat at all. Like, the fact I'm like, if you roll the whole video, like, I'm smiling, laughing, squaring up to this guy, like, it's not a threatening situation.
You were still fixing your hair.
Was I?
Yeah, you're always doing that.
And then you have like these losers like Bin Hameen on Russo show. First of all, like, Russo gave his take on Twitter, and then he let some fat like talk on his show about it, and then tried to bury me. Look, Bin, you're a nobody in your own business. You're nobody in your own business. Like, I've never seen you in WCW. I've never seen you in TNA. I've never seen you in WWE. You're doing the Arab heel gimmick in 2022. I don't know what you do, but if we compare bank accounts, I'm doing better than you.
Who is
right?
he? I've heard the name only from like the Russo show, but I don't know what he does.
He's just some idiot on Russo show. He's a little who like complains about who slags everybody off. When I was on there, he was in Vince's ear going, "Oh, this guy's going to be trouble. And how do we know like this information is right? And oh, where's he getting it from?" It's like, dude, I'm getting it from people because I have different conversations with people on a different level. When wrestlers and producers and writers are contacting me for my NFL picks, that's when like favors are being exchanged at different level to where you're at. So like, and then he talks and he tries to go, "Oh, this guy's like these guys at a convention, and Billy's wearing a bag that probably had AEW cards in it." Like yeah, exactly. It's like what do you think that I am? Like, I'm not purposefully in this industry. Like, this whole thought that I'm trying to stepping stone to get to this point, like we're all climbing this ladder, like Dave's sitting on top of. I don't give a because when I am there, if I ever want to be there, I'll still be making less money than I do now. And that is what makes the world go round. I've just come back from a 1-month vacation. And you know what paid for it? Money. It wasn't clicks. I didn't pay for it. I didn't pay for anything with clicks or YouTube numbers or anything. They wanted card. They wanted card or cash. That's it. That's all that matters, right? And that doesn't come from doing this job. Trust me. This is only done as a hobby to basically put people right, because there's a lot of people out there giving you the wrong information. At the same time, it's very important to address this as well. You've got this guy trying to put out his social justice fires and whatnot. I believe truly that I'm the one who's trying to bring the real social justice, because everything that's being said is your free speech is being evaporated away while you sit there and just let them do it. Like, you're the ones, and then you've got this guy like building his reputation off the back of it. I'm the social justice warrior who's fighting for the black guy on my podcast, who's fighting for the women I work for. That's what he is. He's a hillbilly little who failed in like mixed
Where's
martial
he from?
arts. Oh, hillbilly USA. Who cares?
Because every time he says, I'm like, where's he? What location is he with this hillbilly?
And I may be the one wearing a cowboy hat, but I bought that thing to wear in Nashville,
which I call the sombrero.
I'm in Nashville, and his other there is like, it's like these two like fat guys and all this. Like, I literally came on this show
because you had a fanny pack on.
Yeah, I had a fanny pack on, and then I had my waist trainer, and then I had my waist trainer on as well. So there's this like picture where like I'm sideways on, and then there's like a square in my, and people are like going, "Oh, like look at the guts on those two." I was like, my gut is square, like his gut is fat, like, and that's the other thing. When he turned around and I see him, it's like I didn't expect him to be that fat, because I heard that like, you know, that he was like a guy who was
MMA
trying to be a
trainer
wrestler
or something.
He was trying to be a wrestler at one point or whatever. But all I saw,
he's a regular guy. He's just a regular guy. That's all I see. I mean,
he's a regular guy, and the thing is, like, with the whole situation, the bottom line is very, very simple. So loser Bin Hameen and all these other dorks who want to make a big deal out of it. You're making a big deal about a dude who does this for a hobby. Like, all my main income, my main focus, the reason you haven't seen me for 4 weeks is because the Premier League started, the NFL's about to start. Also, I've been on holiday, and with the spare time I've had, I'm deep down into the things that pay for the things that I want to do. And this ain't it, right? This is a hobby. Yeah, I haven't missed any shows on Conan and Disco or whatever, but I haven't had the hour to spare. Now I have. We'll address this situation, but all these guys are like circle jerking over a confrontation between someone that does this for a hobby and somebody who posts out the most irrelevant information you could ever wish. It's not even worth $5. To say that it's overpriced for $5, right, would be an understatement, would it not? You've read that trash, right?
I've read it. Yeah, when it's being sent to me. The only time I ever see anything is when it's sent to me.
And that's the thing. Everybody blew up over this, but at the end of the day, that's an indictment on all of you, because all that happened was a guy from England, me, was walking around at a wrestling convention which I had, and all this other. I was kicked out, and I didn't have a press pass. All this. I had my pass upgraded because the guy that was in charge of the press passes listened to our show. Oh, I love you guys. Oh, you're great on the show. Oh, you're great on the show. I know I'm great on the show. That's why they don't kick me out. That's why they let me say whatever I want. That's why, like, you get these dork bags on the comment who are like, oh, let's get rid of Billy. Let's get rid of Billy. You'll never get rid of me. The only way I'll go is when I choose to go. Conan ain't going to do it, and Disco ain't going to do it, and Joe ain't going to do it, because you know why? Like, I bring more comments than everybody else on it, and I know how to get them. So when you're talking this last week where I was criticizing Johnny Gargano, do you think in your little Mark brains that I don't know that this argument between me and Conan is going to blow up when the clip goes out? That's the difference between successful content creators and losers who watch this in their mum's house. Like, that's the difference. And then I'm not criticizing people for watching. I'm criticizing the idiots who make all these like negative comments, because all you're doing is like just being reeled into exactly what we want you to do. Like, it's content creation. Like, it doesn't matter what the comments say. You can say, oh, I'm not watching this show again, but you're watching it right now. Like, you told me, I've seen on there that said they won't watch until I go. Yet they're still commenting about why I'm not gone. Listen, I'm not going anywhere because my news is right. My sports stuff is incredible every time I'm on. And at the end of the day, like, every time I'm on there, it's a engaging conversation. So I'm not going to be going anywhere. And so in relation to this incident, it's real simple. I'm there on my holiday, right? And they're walking around. He's pressed. I'm pressed. I'm there with a 10-year-old. He spins me around, asks me to say something. I say a lot. Actually, it's not like I say, "Oh, we can't do this here. My kid's here." I still like. I'm not backing down in front of my kid because I can't teach him to back down because he's got to know how to stand there.
My favorite excuse was that he said you went like this. You want to step outside, which is just a normal gesture because you're using your thumb like out of here, right? And he's like, he wasn't even pointing towards the doors. He was pointing towards the back of the plate. And I'm like, because he didn't locate the doors and say, do you want to go outside that way?
Yeah,
I mean, you just thumbed it. You want to go outside, which is a gesture.
I didn't have my compass on me, so I didn't know where the door was. But yeah, I mean, the point is that numerous times I said, let's go outside. As I said on other shows, I've done interviews about, I agreed to do, I don't know if you listened to me and Brad Shepard.
I did. I'd listen to that one, yeah.
I think that was good. I mean, at least people have told me. But he's going to be coming back on here, by the way, so that's going to blow up. So anyway, get back to my point. All that needs to be really taken from that is he approached me, my kid sat down, we went at it. I got bored of it going around in circles, and I said, let's just go outside. Because you want that to kind of, you think after a minute or two people are going to run out of things to say, but nobody did. So I was just go outside. My justification of it is that if he stepped outside and accepted that, because if the police come and they're like, want to question people and go, oh, what happened here? It'd be like, well, I said to him, go outside, and he did. So that was me saying,
two grown men.
It's two grown men. If he didn't want to come outside and fight, he shouldn't have come outside. That's just how I thought of it anyway.
Yeah, nobody's being jumped.
Deep down though, like I knew he wouldn't go. I knew he wouldn't go outside. He's backing down from everything. 70% of what was said was coming out of my mouth. Like he let me call him every name under the sun. Wife looked terrified. At one point, I thought about saying, I worked out it was his wife because she was like trying to like sort of.
I thought it was someone in line.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, why don't I just say, why don't you explain to her the thigh comment? Who are you messaging? Whose thighs did you want to rub and all this? And I just figured, like, what if she don't even know? Like, and what if like wife ruin her weekend and because look, she's unfortunate enough to be married to him anyway. At the end of the day, like if you look at her and then you look at like type of people like you see him like tweeting and whatnot, you know that she's just not his beard, because I don't think he's gay, because that's what the expression for when someone's, but I think like she's just like his little comfort blanket. That's what she is. Just something that, something to make sure that he has someone. Because you could tell he's an insecure little prick, because just by the way he acts with the DMs and everything. So you could tell he's the kind of guy who has his girlfriend or wife or whatever she is that he doesn't really have any feelings for, whilst he tries to go and DM every other girl that watches wrestling. Because he's
slides into everyone's DMs, so you can't say it's just women. It's funny because, like I said, I'll probably see him at Mania. Listen, I guarantee I won't see him at Mania unless he's at the Superstore, because that's the only thing I attend. I don't go to the signings. I walk around and see what kind of merchandise.
You go to WrestleCon, no?
No, I never have, and I don't. That's not for me. I don't really care. I will go to the Superstore. I like
for doing this for 25 minutes instead of like news and all. But it's like
what I mean. I'm sure people want to hear, because we have not talked about it. The only person, and I will say,
I have.
Yeah, but we never discussed. But like I said, I don't have a problem with the SAP because of anything other than the sliding into people's DMs to bully them. That's my issue. That's it. Other than that, I don't care. The only person I do have an issue with, which maybe we could have a minis match at Mania, is Derek Montilla. That one I am not giving up. And that one with Mr. Big Mouth, Derek Montilla, who started it, and I'll go to like a child. He started it. Talk on all his, so I'm like,
that was hilarious. It was like, oh, Billy's broke. He gets his
I mean, I got a personal problem with him. Me and him have a problem, not with what he said about you, but yeah, me and him have a problem. He talks big behind things, but he's what, 5'5" maybe? So I'm 5'8". Like we said, we have a mini match, and maybe Max Mini runs in, does something. I don't know.
Yeah, they all start with all
El
this.
Torito.
They all they come in like this little group of people, and it's like,
well, it's all the ones who hate you. They want to jump in and go, yeah, like Satin was like, let's hear it for Sap, and I was like, wasn't he the one who ran away when you called his name at the hotel when he was walking and he speed walked away? I mean, what are you talking about? So
I mean, like I said, it was a show. I took nothing from it. Like, for me, these are nothing incidents. Like, I've been involved, as I said, like at a different level to all these people. I mean, even a different level to these wrestlers. Like these, like people.
What did I tell you to get into though? Remember what I said? Stop.
Yeah, you did. You did. I won't bring that up here. But the bottom line is that I don't want to. Like, I know this is going to get me a lot of heat. Like, even with my own people, like in terms of Disco and Conan and
why? Because you're still on it or something. Meanwhile, it was me. Blame it on me. I'm the one who brought it up.
No. But like, let me just like say this one time, and then we'll just and just put this out here, because it's frustrating me, because it seemed like this is a great community and this is a great bubble. It's like, oh, these guys want to be really important in wrestling. You stupid pricks! I've been on television in front of 8 million people, right? And I was on that show year after year after year, because I can talk like this, whether you like it or not. And I'm not liked. I'm not popular at all. And I love it, because being unpopular has made me ridiculous amounts of money. Like, I could not have made any of this money had I tried to be liked. The only thing is, you have to take, like, sometimes you have to take like punches thrown at you, pints of spit, people waiting for you outside.
Sounds
like
fun.
abusive messages in your inbox. If you can live with all of that, with that racism and the DMs and people waiting to fight you and all these negative comments in forums and YouTube, and I generate all of this heat, but you know what? I also generate a lot of money, right? And that's my main priority. So, and that's been this way for 15 years, and it began with a show that was watched by 8 million people. So if you think I'm trying to get in your wrestling bubble, like, and even at the peak of the Attitude Era, when they had 8 million people across 2 shows, I had it on 1 show in a country that is about the 1/8 of the size of yours. So in a 60 million country, which was, I think, a 57 million population country at the time, 8 million watched my show. Take away everybody under 12, 13 years old, and then take away all the people over 55. That means that small group of people, which was probably, I would say, 18 to 35-year-olds, nearly half of them watched. And these are the people that I was around and out and about all the day. So if you guys think, oh, you're trying to climb into this bubble and that bubble, no, like, I've been in a bigger space than all of you. It doesn't, unless you're The Rock or Hulk Hogan or John Cena. If you're talking about people like Bin and I don't want to name names, or even like current day wrestlers, like, I've been in places where it's been bigger than that, and more people have wanted to talk to you and photograph you and whatnot. And I'm not saying this as a boast. I'm saying this as a fact. You think that I'm now trying to social climb some little community of dorks, right? Just for a TV program that I've watched. I've watched this since I was 9 years old. Like, I'm not trying to social climb anything. If I wanted to do this, I would have done this when I was red hot off TV. The only reason I started this was to help 4 geeks who I met in a convention on a podcast called The Steel Cage, to try and get them some listeners, because they didn't have any.
That's how I found you. You were the entertaining person on that show.
This all started out of a gesture of goodwill. At the same time, I was bored of the product, and I needed a reason to carry on watching, other than the fact that my kid was just starting to watch it. So we're looking at 2013, 2014, when my kid was like 2-3 years old, and he just started watching it and getting a couple of action figures and whatnot. But that wasn't enough. So I did the podcasting to engage me more, because I was bored. I've been bored, and Cav's been bored probably since that time. And out of the loyalty of what this meant to us, like in the 90s and the early 2000s, like, I've stuck through with it. I said recently on the show, and let me just bring it round to wrestling now, because this was the controversial comment. And I don't know why it was this moment that really ticked me off, but I basically, in my own head now, Cav, I've done what you said that I should have done a while ago. I've put a timer in my head for when I want to stop doing this, which is like 2 years from now. 2 years from now, I don't want to talk about this no more. On the asterisk that it continues down this route. And the route is that when they went to the crowd and Johnny Gargano came back last week, there was guys who were on there, put their hands on their heads like this. Like it was Undertaker losing again, right? Do you remember when Undertaker lost? And it's the first time that I recall they went to the crowd. That was the first crowd reaction shot that I remember, right? So now you're using
was Ms. Girl before or after that?
After. Oh, you're before. You're right. Yeah, before.
That's the only time I remember. Yeah, correct.
That was end of 2010, I believe. So it was before. Okay, so you get my point is that you remember Ms. Girl, you remember like goggle eye, back guy, taker guy.
Yeah.
But getting back to my point, anyway, like I was talking about the facial. I was talking about the facial reactions and how significant they were coming up through the years. So we now see this constantly in AEW. It's been AEW's thing where they film their like dorky audience all the time, which is not a good look for them. And WWE did it, and you have these fans who had this reaction to Johnny Gargano. Like Johnny Gargano is a dwarf, right? Johnny Gargano is a dwarf. You are wetting yourself over a little dwarf. And I told a story which got everyone's back up about when I was doing the wrestling and they brought me in, and I made a decision not to pursue it. And I made that decision based on my size. And these guys were like, going like, oh yeah, sure, you're 6'1". Yeah, I am. But it wasn't about my height, you idiots. If you look at me when I came out of Big Brother, 11 stone guy, 154 pounds on a 6'1", on a 6'1" frame. Go back and do the research. Yeah, that's what I meant. And in terms of when I see wrestlers, when I see top people, and I was around some of them, there was a guy, even in the faction I was managing, there was a guy called LT Summers, Luke. He was huge. He gave up on the wrestling. I was also like on my shows was Nick Aldis. I looked at him and thought that's what a wrestler looks like. I picked a few guys in there and thought they're going to make it. I don't want to do what it takes to be that big. And also, there's only a certain amount, that a certain level that I'm going to get to is 6'1". So in order to do the wrestling, even though my mic skills, which is another thing that pissed people off, I said my mic skills blew away everybody who was there. That's Rockstar Spud. That's Will Ospreay. That's even Nick Aldis. All of these people were there. If you gave me a mic, like I would get some serious heat. I'm still doing it now, 15 years later. So like that, I knew that I could have like talked myself from that position, being the person that came over from Big Brother into wrestling. And I was the one that was like selling out these shows, right? I was the one that was taking them from 80 people coming in to like 300-400. Not incredible numbers, but at least these shows weren't making loss. It was only a few months after I come that they were suddenly able to afford Scotty 2 Hotty and Billy Gunn and Eugene and all these people coming in. Who paid for that? I paid for that with the people that came to see me, right? I don't care if you don't like it. It's a fact. So at the end of the day, I made the decision that mic skills alone, I didn't want to commit to it because there was more money from doing my like celeb, walking around, popping up in clubs, becoming a club promoter, doing all this like going down this easier path, because it's going to be very, very hard for a skinny 6'1" person to make it in this industry solely based on mic skills. That's the more detailed explanation as to what I meant when I said that I didn't want to pursue it. Little did I know that midgets like Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano would not only be doing it, not only be main eventing, but would be getting this reaction. Oh my God, he's here. Like,
however, though, what about Brian? You jerked off to Brian, right?
That's a different thing. Like,
why is that different?
No.
It's just tall as them.
It's a different thing when one person, like even Angle wasn't big, Benoit wasn't big, Eddie wasn't big, and Michaels wasn't big, Brett wasn't big. But over time, there are people that have seeped through with the believability of a tough guy, like that shooter, like tough guy kind of.
The tough guy thing I could see, where Gargano doesn't look like the tough guy, neither does Cole, but
and he doesn't
personality helps.
So, but it hasn't become a case where it was flooded with these people. Like, obviously,
now that's all there is.
There's always going to be one Daniel Bryan. There's always going to be one Rey Mysterio, who's like almost a superhero. There's always going to be a Bret Hart and a CM Punk. And CM Punk's not small, but you get my point. Like, there's always going to be these people that come through the cracks, and you do push them because they've got something about them. To me, these people don't have anything about them. And when I saw that reaction, people took it as, oh my God, this guy hates the show. He preferred it. And Conan even turned it into, oh, he preferred it when Vince was running the show. No, I didn't. That's quite obvious that the show has got better.
Yeah.
However, the direction of the show, the target audience of the show isn't going to be me moving forward. Like, at least when we had Vince, right, even though we were like abused wives, right, in terms of like, it felt like we were
beaten wives,
the wives that got beaten up every day, and then then all of a sudden you would get some flowers. Like every 3 months we get some flowers and be like, okay, like
he's not that bad.
I'm gonna stay with him, right? So that's what it's been like with Vince. But always, like, you hope that it would get better in terms of when he dies or when he leaves or when they sell it to someone. The next guy's going to come in, or the next company's going to come in, and they're going to run it differently. So it's just a case of waiting. Now that's happened, all that hope is dead, because this is what it actually is going to be. They're waiting for Vince to leave, whenever you thought that was going to be, or, even if it was Vince delegating the creative over to somebody else. Now I feel like all that hope is gone. And I'm not saying it's not better. It is better, but it's only slightly better, because I just still think 3 hours is very difficult to watch. I'm seeing way too much wrestling, and I'm seeing an overemphasis on these guys that are all smaller than me. And that's not what I watch for. What I watch for is immediately what happened when Johnny Gargano went off the screen, which was an advert for Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. I don't find these guys believable. When I was out last, that's why I'm wearing sunglasses. Out till 6 a.m.
Well, I have some news for you. I don't know if this is breaking news, but you want to see?
Okay. Who's that? Velveteen Dream?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was going to come back.
I wish, but now it's out of a possession drug paraphernalia, arrested on Friday.
They could have definitely got me. They could have got me for that last night, for sure.
I'm telling you, we'd pop like hell if Dream showed up, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But he has a star quality about him, and I just don't see it in these guys. And like I said, I was out last night with my buddy who runs an escort agency that went to a few manias with me, and he was asking me about it, like because he came over here and he watched WrestleMania at mine this year, and he still keeps tabs on it. And this is the thing. This is the part that people don't understand, because, again, no offense, but like I look at a lot of wrestling fans as people that don't have a lot of friends. Like I do. So in terms of, I can communicate with people who are outside of this bubble. And when you think of a casual fan, too many people think about, oh, these people watch the Attitude Era, they're never coming back. No, you idiots. This is wrong. There's a lot of people that watched and dropped out at different times who had long commitment to this. I'm talking people that didn't watch it for the Attitude Era, but watched it for actually have got 10, 15 years in the bank. They're interested. They want it to get better. They do pop in when CM Punk turns up on AEW. They do pop in when Vince McMahon leaves the company and Triple H takes over. But when they pop in, they want to see something better than this. And what isn't going to bring my friends back, like my buddy Dan, the escort agency owner, like Johnny Gargano is not going to bring him back. In fact, the more Johnny Garganos that we fill the screen with, and the more 20-minute wrestling matches, the more unlikely it is that he'll ever sit next to me at Mania again. And the thing is that
did you not like the thing between Gargano and Ciampa during that year that was
Dude, this is my point. Like, this is the thing. You're doing the same thing Conan did. It doesn't matter what I liked, right? Because like I can like that type of wrestling, and I can also like Logan Paul, The Rock coming back, and all that. I can go every which way with it. I just don't enjoy. The thing I hate the most is the 20-minute matches between nobodies that don't matter. That was really getting up my skin.
You got to have something that happened to have that long match. Like a build
in that sense, yes. But at the same time, also, like I have a son who drifts in and out now, which is like which is not helping me because the plan in order to continue watching this for another decade or whatever would be for us to continue attending shows. If he says I don't want to go to SummerSlam, I want to go to
it's very possible
this country or whatever. He's not said that about Mania, but if he says next time I don't want to go to SummerSlam or no, let's go and watch a Champions League game in Paris or Germany or whatever. Then I mean, what if he starts understanding the NFL and he goes like, oh, wrestling, like we'll go to NFL game in October instead. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
I'd rather go to one of my Bears games than go to like Mania, to tell you the truth.
Well, this is my point. It's not going to hold. This is not going to bring in the type of people that I want to associate with. This is not going to bring in the people that I'm friends with and that I talk to and that I want to go shows with. I don't want to be sitting in this community long term with the type of people that currently go to shows. Like, the look, the type of people, like, and WWE themselves under Vince McMahon, even though the booking and creative was terrible, like you still saw little traces of they kind of knew what they wanted to be in terms of they deliberately put plants of like these hot girls always sitting behind like Michael Cole and you know what, like they always
they'll show those couple hot chicks and I'm always like, how are these women there?
Well, that's the thing. I know girls like this that went to wrestling that have stopped over the last 2-3 years. It's becoming overtaken by this core fan base, and for me, that is becoming intolerable. So everybody understood the wrong thing in terms of saying that, he thinks the show's worse. I don't think it's worse. I think it's better. But it's not better enough to bring back these the people that used to watch it, the type of people that I want to go with and sit with, the girls that I know that used to watch it, the cooler people. It makes me feel like a dork watching this when I'm out. Like, so that's the thing. A lot of people turn around. Even Disco said it to me. He goes, and Joe, he goes, why the hell were you even at that convention? Why should you be there? Like, in some way, I'm above it. If I'm above going to a wrestling convention because of like my personality or things I've done or whatever, then that's not a problem with me. That's a problem with wrestling and a problem with the fan base they've created, because the perception is that I shouldn't be around these people. Why? Because I do want to meet Bret Hart, like, and I want my kid to meet him. I do want to see Ric Flair. Could be the last time. So suddenly, because of the other people that want to do that, it becomes a place that I shouldn't be in, because everybody else is fat, smelly, and poor. Like, I'm supposed to not want to do it either. That doesn't make any sense to me.
So what's in the news, Billy? We've gone nearly an hour. I don't know what. I guess we're. I mean,
listen, like
we're just having conversation. Is what this show I think is pretty much.
I'm not gonna be ordered to do. Like, I'm not going to be on someone else's on someone else's schedule or someone else's ideology of what this show is. I'm going to do what I want to do. And if someone doesn't like it, they can tell me to get off the channel, which will never happen. So
which I'm rooting for, but go ahead.
Right. But the situation with the news is pretty much what I've been saying to you guys for the last couple of weeks. First of all, the news in itself, this is news in itself. It's harder to get news. It's legit harder to get news.
Yeah, this is an actual story from what you were telling me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially at the moment,
starts at 49.35.
They are redirecting a lot of storylines and doing their own things. But the thing is that a lot of we don't know how many of the long-term plans, such as Rock, Roman, and whatnot, are still happening. And a lot of the stuff's being done in terms of, hey, can so-and-so come and see me like one-to-one? So there's a lot of like one-to-one in terms of character direction, what people are going to be doing moving forward.
One-to-one means they're going into Triple H's office, that one person, and they're talking, so not everybody knows about it.
They're going into Triple H's office. So there isn't like, there's more of an outline in terms of, so at the moment, from what I'm hearing, creative is being told what they need to produce. So in terms of, you know, in terms of once television's written, producers then make the turn the paper into reality, right? Like like whatever's on paper needs to come to life. So that essentially is what the producer creative roles have become. Whereas Triple H is like implementing all of his own ideas privately and steering the ship. So it makes it a lot harder to get things. But one of the things I did get was something that people really need to understand. And I want to just hammer this point home again, because I said it on Keep It 100 as well. And it's important because a lot of the people that I know feel this way. In wrestling, in sport, in all sports, and even in wrestling, for 50% of the people to be happy and be winning wrestling matches, on every wrestling show you do, it's got 50% winners and 50% losers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So nearly all of the time in a wrestling locker room, be it AEW or WWE, I see these stories about AEW unrest and WWE unrest. Nearly all of the time in the history of wrestling, and even now, 50% of the people are going to be happy on any given night, and 50% are not, because they do care about what they're doing on a week-to-week basis. So when someone's in the midst of a push, they're happy. When someone's in the midst of like a bad run, they're unhappy. It's common sense, which I don't understand why people haven't got. And this whole like rah Triple H is saving the business thing and everybody's happy in the locker room, they're not, because it's no different to when Vince was there. Because suddenly certain people who are doing certain things are not happy with the changes that have been made. And with all of these new people coming in, obviously they're happy now, they've got jobs. But you think everybody's there going, oh my God, it's so great. I'm so happy to see you take my place.
Yeah.
No, it's stupid. It's the same company and it's the same attitude backstage. Yeah, things are one thing that is changing is that things are a lot more organized. There's like long-term planning for people. There's less rewrites because things are being done like well ahead of time. And I imagine there are story arcs and things that we've been calling out for. So again, if people think, oh, you know, he thinks the show was better with Vince, and oh, he complains. I saw one comment. He complains when we're happy, and when we're unhappy, he's happy. When was I happy? When it was Vince, I wasn't happy.
Not for quite a long time. No.
I wasn't happy with Vince's show. I'm certainly not happy with Tony Khan's show, because that's going down the toilet fast. And I'm not entirely happy with this show. There's always a better way of doing things. But better wrestling is always going to be 80 minutes of wrestling with 40 minutes of adverts. That's how the old wrestling show was, right? It's 80 minutes of 86 minutes of actual wrestling. If you go back and watch any good Raw, you'll go to the ticker. We used to back to the Monday Night Wars, which Cav used to really enjoy. It was you always saw that ticker at the end, right? It was like 1 hour 23 minutes or 1 hour 26 minutes, something like that, right? Mm-hmm. That's the perfect length for the show. So until that happens, you're asking people. Look, one way to look at it is that on a week-to-week basis, I don't think things will ever be exciting again when you're asking people to watch an Avengers movie every Monday. Do you get what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, when people go to the cinema, they're like, oh, the new Avengers movie's out. And I always hear people say, is it one of those 3-hour ones? And yeah, it's one of those 3-hour ones. And people always go, oh, yeah. But they still go because, and it's always when you're watching it, you always think to yourself, that was really good. But I reckon it could. I think I saw 20 minutes that they could have.
Yeah,
not.
30 minutes could have been gone.
Like,
yeah,
especially with the last Batman. The last Batman was great, but there was an hour of film that didn't need to be there. The one with Robert Pattinson, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I was happy when I heard it was 3 hours. I go, good. No more Batman, the better for me.
Well, this is how I feel every Monday. So that problem hasn't been tackled, and it's probably beyond their control because they would have to concede a large amount of a $2 billion contract in order to do one less hour. So you can understand that, but that's just one thing that isn't going to get resolved. What could have been resolved is this television looking completely different. And you have people like attacking me, attacking Russo, anybody that's against this narrative that Triple H is a god that fixed wrestling because he's trying to create NXT 2.0. NXT 2.0 was for NXT Black and Gold. NXT Black and Gold was for a certain fan. And the thing is that I can be that type of fan. Like I can.
We had a blast at Mania when we went to, what is it?
Of course I did, Cab, because I can be a fan that watches. I can be a fan that does watch 7 hours of wrestling a week because I've watched it for so long. And obviously I do podcasts and whatnot. I will do the 7 hours. All I want from this product moving forward is for my friends who are still on the periphery, the casual people, to be able to dip back in. Where's the 2 hours for them? Because under Triple H, we don't have it. We have 7 hours of the same. Then we have the same for 2 hours on AEW. Wrestling, midget, ugly girl, ugly hell, who these nerds have convinced themselves is attractive. Listen, I haven't one girl as ugly as Bailey in my whole life. Ask Cav. And she's been put out pictures of.
I don't know about your early years, but yeah, the later ones, no.
No, I haven't. Never have I dropped down to that level.
Hey, that's San Jose's own. How dare you?
But that's my point. We got these wrestling, these accounts that sexy girls are wrestling. That's
sure.
WWE porn or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're putting out Bailey's ass and Bailey's. It's yeah, okay, maybe, but you have to put a bag over her.
Seen her sister?
Yeah.
Oh,
her sister.
It's nice.
But Bailey would this, what we would my buddies would call a paper bagger.
Yeah, they have those here. That's what they call them. Two baggers. They call them here.
What's the second bag for?
You put one on yours in case hers breaks.
Oh. They're convinced. So they convinced themselves that she's hot and Dakota Kai's hot and Sasha. Oh my God! Sasha's gonna win the.
Sasha's the queen of the world according to everyone. I mean, listen, we've always had this joke on Lingus Mafia where we go, Sasha's almost really good looking. There's just it's a hair off. Something's going on. But I mean, listen, it's not like she's an ugly girl or anything like that.
So let me give you a couple of more bits and centering around this. So one of the issues, and it should be more relevant in the next quarterly and whatnot. Nick Khan made significant cuts to the WWE's expenditure when he came in, in terms of getting rid of people. They made a lot more money from TV during the pandemic than they did now, because obviously they were just shooting it all in the Performance Center. And the idea moving forward was to streamline the company, streamline a lot of the numbers that they had, the number of people that they had on the roster. Mm-hmm. The idea was actually to get back to no brand extension at all, and just have people appearing on both shows, because Fox and USA wanted that, which was conveyed to Khan, who has more communication with them than anybody. So that's why they streamlined. That's why they were looking to build. I told you this story before, so it's old to you, but I'll repeat it for people because I think it may have been on Russo's. They were looking to build their own building, bigger than the Performance Center, but something that could house 6,000 to 8,000 people per week in Florida, so that people could go to Raw and SmackDown. And in a WWE owned building they would still tour. They would still, but they wanted to cut down the touring. So they wanted to cut down to 8 house shows a month, 8 house shows a month, and television to be filmed only at the Raw and SmackDown facility that they were going to build, because the cost of getting that equipment across from Raw to SmackDown every week is $1.8 million.
You would think that the price of people going there would, I figured they'd be losing money during pandemic because there's no audience to pay. But I guess television money.
The audience doesn't pull in a 1.8 million gate. The equipment and the setup and the staff and the catering and everything like that is significantly higher than the people in attendance. So unless you want to run MSG every Monday, that's not going to work. So that's what they were looking forward to doing. So he scrapped all that. He's bringing in people. At the moment, it's only like 6-figure hires, even carrying Cross. But when we're waiting to see where these negotiations go with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. Because
they're talking to Bray. I didn't even know. I didn't know
they're
that.
talking to Bray and they're talking to Braun. This is
will Braun show up tonight? By the time people watch this, has Braun already showed up?
Well, Braun is a $1.5 million contract, and Bray Wyatt is a $3 million contract.
Wow!
So you're looking at $4.5 million that you need. So this is like bringing in 9 of these other guys. So you're looking at Dakota Kai and Johnny Gargano and Karrion Kross and Scarlett and all these people and Hit Row and all these people that he's brought back. These 2 guys, if negotiations come to fruition, will cost more than everyone else put together that they brought back. This is really going to test like that relationship, because it's weird because Nick Khan came here from the CAA agency. Like they took him, he was the head negotiator for the deals for the deal for Fox. And rather than giving CAA agency 15%, they decided just to steal Nick Khan and give him $3 million salary with a 5% cut of future negotiations. So he takes 5% of the Peacock deal, and he'll get 5% of anything else that he secures for WWE when they renegotiate with USA and Fox. So he's key because those negotiations haven't happened, and you are pissing him off right now. So with what you're doing. So because you're undoing everything that Vince let him do. So this is messy. You guys sitting there like having a circle jerk thinking that Triple H is the king of the world and Johnny Gargano, should be challenging for the title. Like whatever. Like this, it's not a wrestling show for me. It's not a wrestling show that's going to make the future of wrestling any better than me in terms of continuing to watch with my kid, bringing in my friends that didn't watch, helping me like go and sit in a cooler crowd where I want to be there. Like I don't want to go to, look, the bottom line is I don't want to go to wrestling and feel like and be like, why do I watch what he watches?
It's the people. Yes, 100%. I took the Duchess for the first time, a while back. And
it's embarrassing, right? It's embarrassing.
It was, because there's a guy behind us and he's trying to talk to us about the wrestling. And it was like, I just like, I'm sure tons of people who watch this are in that same boat where you're worried about telling someone you even watch wrestling. And when you do, you go, I watch wrestling, but I'm not like one of those people. You always have to say it because it's those creatures that you're like, oh man, it just, that's what people think of wrestling fans. It's those whack jobs.
Yeah, it was like I saw a guy, and this is legit. He was like at one of these figure stands I was standing at Starcast, and he was like, "Oh, how much is that one? Or how much is that one?" And
everything.
Punk. It was a CM Punk, and he was like, "Oh, it's just 95 or something." He's like, "Oh," he goes, I would never pay that. I hate CM Punk.
And they start to tell you stories about them watching them, and it's like,
He went into, so he turned around to me, he goes, "Do you like CM Punk?" I was like, I like him. I said, I've liked him more. I said, I like him more.
The Tin Man.
I turned around, he goes, what do you think of CM Punk? I was like, yeah, I've always been like a fan. Like it gets, it goes up and down. He's like, oh no, I don't like him since he went to. It's like, oh my god, how did I get into this conversation? Like,
and do you remember the match? Did you see the match between this? You remember when they did this? Do you remember? Did you like how they finished it? It's like, oh, I talked to somebody. He's telling me about a finish, and I go, I can't remember the finish of this. I go, please, guy, I watch it mindlessly in one ear and out the other. I don't at this point.
And that's the thing,
I don't know.
I would be, and here's something like positive about this audience, or at least some of them. Like, I would be more hesitant to say this kind of thing because it's like, oh my god, like you got an audience that you want to like, and because we have Patreons and we have the things that we want people to go and check out and whatnot, right? So it's like you don't want to come on and bury your audience like and piss them off. But since I've been to Starcast, and I had a lot of people come up to me and ask me for a photo, and I had a conversation with people who said, I listened to your show. And I'm not like, they didn't seem like everyone that came and spoke to me. A lot of people worked on Starcast or whatever. The vast majority of people that spoke to me, especially this one guy who I actually hung out with. With Austin, him and his buddy and me and Austin. We actually hung out a bit. A guy called Clint. It was super cool. Like nothing like the guys I'm talking about. So a lot of people that listen to the show, and granted, like there were probably a lot of people that didn't come up to me that write things in the comments, and you'd even get the people that who hate me and probably ask for a photo. Like you're going to get that too because they don't have the guts to actually say what they say behind their keyboards. But at the end of the day, like the biggest thing for me is that we waited and waited and waited and waited for Vince to die or leave, right? Both of us. And now we know what the outcome is. And quite frankly, I'm not impressed by it.
It's not long enough to be impressed or not. It's on its way. You're not impressed with all the people. I mean, he's bringing back one, but you might not like Johnny Gargano, but you like another guy. But I mean, you like Cross being back there? I mean, you could take one and leave one. There is something going on, and you got to give it time with that. It's not going to be in a month, boom, this product is great again. Let's roll in. Come on. Now it's almost like each week I'm disappointed if somebody new doesn't come back because they're busy doing this.
But for me, it was that moment. It was like when, okay.
You're bothered by the fans more than anybody else.
We got Gargano back. We're going to bring him in Toronto. We know the type of people that are going to be Toronto, and we're going to turn the camera towards those type of people that we're aiming it for. If that's your target audience, it's not going to stop being your target audience. So it tells me that there is no plan to add any cool factor to this product. It's going to be a wrestling show. It's going to be a wrestling show that me and you can watch. But it's always going to be the wrestling show where we hold our nose, take our girlfriends to a show, and be like, I'm not like, and be paranoid about the people that are sitting around us.
When do you bring back The Fiend?
Obviously, I'm going to the show on Saturday, so I'd like to see him there, but I don't.
You think might be that quick if it does even?
Yeah, but I don't think so. I don't think
I'm like, do they hold it till Mania that long? They can't. No. You want something big, and that would be big, though.
It would be big, but like the deal isn't done. Like the deal isn't done. You got to think like this person was like let go for being difficult. Like it's not going to be all Vince and Nick Khan's fault. Like it's not just going to be easy for Triple H to just be like, okay, like I'll just give you what I want or whatever. This guy like was having. Was asking for like time off on top of time off. So
yeah,
I mean, it's different because in one sense he had. If you look it up, it's a fact. He had kid after kid. Like she got pregnant and then had a baby and got pregnant again.
Yeah.
There isn't even a year between the kid. I think it's like 11 months between the date of births or something. I mean, they almost could be in the same school year. Can you imagine having two kids in the same year at school, but they're not twins? I've never heard of that before. That's
he's a horny guy, man.
Yeah, but like that was his situation at the time. So in that sense, like those issues may be resolved, and it might be easier to bring him back. But all I know is that like that is a conversation that's being had. I don't look for AEW to have any like big hires like that at the moment. I mean, they may not even stay on their TV channel. So. So yeah, we want to. Yeah, I'm hoping people stayed this long because it's really important stuff. We should always do it at the beginning before we talk about hillbillies.
And you know what's funny is on that. Speaking of, I said to him, "You're missing a money opportunity if you guys were to have a show together and a debate, even like each week a debate." And of course, because I'm biased, I wouldn't, be fair. I would so be in the middle of that. And he's like, I won't help this, racist, whatever, homophobe make money. And it's like, here we go.
How is it helping me? I make about 5 times more money than you do, right? I don't understand how
it's people don't understand where it's like, yeah, didn't Matt and Edge hate each other, but they could make money? So they, it's like, I get it that he thinks you're racist and homophobic. I mean, that's his opinion, and it's probably never going to change. It's what he thinks of you. But if Derek wanted to do something with me where we had I would in a heartbeat. I would. Who cares? It's entertaining, and I won't do that. It's like, oh, get over yourself. This is not the world.
Brad Shepard done business. Like I went and done his show.
You guys, you had a hard. The funny thing too is what I said to Sap. First of all, when I said, I don't know why you guys don't like each other. I thought it was always that he was stealing your news. That's all I knew. And he's all, don't play stupid with me. And I'm like, I don't know. And I don't care enough to be searching why. I'm just like, I don't know why you guys don't like each other. Who the hell knows? It's probably, he goes, I don't care about this dumb wrestling stuff. Obviously he does when he's sliding into people's DMs about it though. So I'm just like, what's the big deal? Why do you got such a hard on?
That's the thing. He was trying to give me he was like, I don't care about this dumb wrestling stuff. To me,
it's always that. Yeah.
But
yeah, you do.
You can't say that when you don't have another income. Like my main priority is clearly something else. Like if you look at the the level of the podcast that I work on and where it's at, and trust me, like that place tests my patience sometimes as well. Like in terms of the amount of stuff you need to do and the amount of tongue biting that you need to do to work on that kind of platform. But at the end of the day, when someone's paying your bills, like I can call Cav up and go, these people, they want me to do this week or whatever. But it's like, you do it, right? You do it. And this is my release. This is where I don't need to listen to anybody. And the thing is, nobody tells me anything now. Like Conan's like, I don't care. Just be you. Do what you want. Yeah,
whatever.
Like, and the thing is that when Sean Waltman or all these people or Bin Hameen's call Conan up and like crying about me.
Waltman is yelling at Conan to get you off the show.
Waltman has complained about me too. Everywhere. He's complained to Wrestling Inc. He's complained to Sportskeeda. He's complained to Russo. He's complained to
so all the horrible things he did with all his drugs and everything. He's now crusading against you.
He's crusading like because he's now gone over to he knows where his money is, the woke money. So he's gonna completely change who he is. And this is the thing. This is the other thing about all these people in their masks or whatever. Sean Ross Sapp has a wife, but he DMs all of these to film something and to edit it and to think that they were his best bits. He put out his best moments and it still didn't look like a W for anybody. Apart from like if he wanted to really claim a W, he really should have edited out any part where I was saying step outside, because hundreds of people picked up on that in the comments where it was like they were saying it to him, and Raj Giri, the little that had like 8 tweets about it. He was like going like step by step, like what happened, like commentary. He put out 8 tweets. Like, these guys are so losers. I'm telling you, like the combination of these losers and like the midgets on TV and whatnot. Like I'm giving it 2 years for this to get better. Like in terms of either the fans or I think The Rock is going to help. Like I desperately hoping The Rock comes back, but then with The Rock,
then people stay though after that because they're there for that.
There's never been that like stickability with him. That's the
All right. So what are we doing? What is our plans? Let everybody know.
Yes. So big plans. Like at the moment, we are primarily focusing on the Lock Betting podcast. That's where you can find all of our content at the moment, because we are putting out the Clash of Champions preview there. Because Clash of Champions, Clash at the Castle. What am I talking about?
I was like, Clash of Champions, that is a soccer thing?
Nah, that's what this pay-per-view was called. Clash at the Castle. We're going to be doing our preview there, so that's where it's going to be. So you need to download the Lock Betting podcast. It's free. It's not like my lockbetting.com.
Yeah, just Apple, just lockbetting.com.
Yeah, lockbetting.com is my Patreon. That's where you can get my official betting picks and bonus podcast. This is free content. So our Clash at the Castle preview with our betting picks is free. That's why I've not spoken about it here, because I want you guys to go over, search Lock Betting on wherever you get your podcast app and download it. And that's also where we are going to be covering the NFL all of this season. So you're going to get our NFC preview on. I was thinking what one we're going to do first. Our NFC futures preview and our AFC futures preview. So we're going to be doing 2 futures podcasts before we start putting out our week-to-week picks. Cav last year won a survivor pool. I've made profit in the NFL every single year since I bet it. Over at lockbetting.com, I've 110 months in a row of transparent track profit. That's 9 years and 2 months without a losing month. So when we talk about the NFL, you want to come over and listen. So this is all free talking about. I'm not selling you on lockbetting.com. Lockbetting.com sells itself. It's 110 months of transparent track profit. If you want to sign up in time for September, head over to lockbetting.com and join the Patreon. If you want our free, go to the Lock Betting podcast, get your Clash at the Castle preview, NFC preview, AFC preview, and NFL every single week. And also, I'm going to also chuck in, I've just made this decision on the spot. The Champions League draw has been done. Instead of being on the Soccer Gambling podcast, I'm going to post my preview ad-free on the, it's not ad-free though, is it? Because they put their own ads in. Or relatively ad-free on the Lock Betting podcast. So you can get all of that just in the next week if by downloading that or subscribing to that podcast feed. Anything for you?
Yeah, I'm thinking one of these times, how about this for a genius idea? You know, the survivor pool is you pick a winner every week and you can never choose them ever again, right? Mm-hmm. How about a reverse survivor pool? You have to pick the team to lose and you can't ever pick them again because, you know, you could pretty much go, anyone playing Houston, let me just keep picking them for a long time and keep surviving. Only pick it reversed, losers.
And now you get some live kind of what should be a behind the scenes conversation, but we'll just have to. We got no choice because if we're going to do it, we're going to have to plug it now.
Yeah.
Are we doing the Miss Informer or Miss K100 competition? Are we with the in line with the NFL?
I forget how the hell that was going to go. Is it just? It's like a Miss Lingus, but at this point, right?
So next weekend, next show, we have to draw names out of the hat.
Oh, yeah, that. Hell yeah, we have to do that. That was, all right, what we were going to do is we're going to draw 32 names out of a hat, all the women in wrestling, and they're going to represent a team by, it doesn't matter. Okay, now it's the Cowboys I pull out of one hat, and I'm going to reach in a hat.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's no advantage because ultimately it's all voted on. So
and it's only because whoever the Cowboys are playing that week is going to be ever the opponent of the girl that was in there as well. So that's their schedule. So it's not going to be, oh, Mandy Rose has an easy schedule because we gave her one. If she's the Jets when we pull it out, she gets the Jets schedule. It doesn't matter. And so every week you guys will get to actually vote between the two women, and we're going to see. It's going to get to the playoffs. So it's every week. You're going to have to go down the list. So and see who's playing who. Let's see who represents each person's team. Maybe, you know, I end up, Chicago ends up with Tamina. Who the hell knows? And, you know, so we're going to see who everybody plays each week. It's going to be fun.
She's not in the top 32. I got 40 names.
I know. I can't believe you have 40 names.
And we have to make the cuts, the 8 cuts this week. So we need to discuss them. Unless you want to chuck it out to the peeps and then get some interaction.
Yeah, for the you know what? Yeah, send me a list and I will do that this week, and that'll be on my show tomorrow on the Lingus Mafia podcast. That's what I will do. So, all right, let's get out of here. Make sure look up Lock Betting podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. Just subscribe. It's free. It used to be our Russo show, so it's that same feed. So if you actually have that feed already, you've already seen it.
That's not that we had to restart with Spreaker in order to sell ads.
You know what? It's on mine. It showed up as a different icon and everything. And I was like, so you might. Go check.
Is it still doing it? Is it still doing it now as of this week? Check your phone. Do you have Bundesliga episode 4?
Let me see. Because I saw there was I did have soccer stuff on mine, and I was like, oh, okay. Updated Friday. Yes, I do.
Oh, it did work.
That is cool. It. That is what you guys will see. If you're looking on YouTube, that is it. So there you go. Lock betting. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. And listen, Sap, we'll do a show with you. Just come on. And Derek, why don't you guys tag team match? Let's go. All right. I'm Cav. That's Billy Boy. We'll see you next time.